Alright, I'm going to begin the pruning now. I'm going to start on the lowest branch, this one here. So you can see it comes out. I have a branch here that I could trim back to a downward facing bud. I have a branch coming off here that's more horizontal and this sweeps upwards, so I can definitely get rid of some of this upward growth and try and grow it out wider. I've already done a big cut here. You can see where I've cut it off to stop that growth sweeping upwards. I've gone more horizontal and I'll just keep doing that. And it'll make kind of a very natural looking branch. So here I go. So I've got a branch facing inwards, it's dead, but I'm going to prune that off like that. I've got a stub up here I can remove. And then, do I want this branch at all is the question. Now I could prune it off shorter. It looks like there's a bud there, so I will do that. I'll prune it off to here, right here. And it should develop a branch coming out more horizontal there. Now it does sweep upwards, this branch, but if I prune it off shorter, I'm losing width, which is fine. I mean, this tree is in development. However, if I'm shortening this lowest branch, I have to make sure that it gets light. So there's no point having the branch above it longer, which will block out light to the lower branches, and it'll just keep growing weakly down below. So I have to keep that in mind. If I want this branch to grow strongly, it has to be out here in the sunlight. If I prune it too short, it's in the shade of the branches above it. So it's something to keep in mind, that it's always a compromise, the pruning. That, you know, you don't get something without sacrificing something else. So I'm going to start at the tip here and prune off some of this vertical growth. So I'll take it off right here, which isn't much. I'm doing it in stages, slowly and carefully. I'm going to remove this branch entirely. I have some better branching at the tip, and I think I'll take out this center part. So I have it now dividing from 1 to 2 at the tip here, which looks better. I'll prune this tip back to a more horizontal branch, and I think that's not too bad now. There's a stub here I can take off. Now I don't know if this branch is alive. Just take the tip off like that. Yeah, it's bleeding, it's alive. So eventually, if these lower branches grow out longer, I can take more off the top if they reach out into the light. But at the moment, you know, if I were to prune it back here, I would have to really prune the entire tree back. And I'd be losing a lot of nice branch structure if I did that. So I don't want to do that. I want to grow these lower ones out longer and stronger. But I don't want to, and keep all my upper structure here. So again, it's kind of a compromise. This one here, I've got a stub here I can take off, and I'm going to prune it back to a downward facing bud to here. So taking the tip off. Here's another stub I can remove, like that. Another stub here. I'll prune this to a downward facing bud, like that. I have a little sorting out to do at the tip here. I can definitely take this one off in the inside here. It didn't have any room to grow there. There's a thick one back here that I'm going to take off. It's too close to the where that branch comes out. There's a stub I can take off here. I can take this off to a downward facing bud, and I'll take this upright tip off here. So again, I'm dividing from 1 to 2 on that branch. This branch is growing in the shade underneath the branch above it. I'm wondering, there's a leaf scar here. I think I have to prune it off shorter and grow it out into the sunlight. So prune that back. So I think that's got it for that part of the end of the branch. Now I have this one here. I'll just prune the tip off like that. Again, I've got to keep it in the sun. And then there's one growing out the back here, this one. It kind of comes off the branch at a strange angle. Let's see if I can rotate that around. Here, my radial direction of the branch is here. It's really cranked over far. And it's kind of like growing under the shade of these other branches. It should be out here. So I'm thinking of pruning it back shorter and developing it into the sun here. So I'll take it back to here. Fairly big cut on that branch. Okay. That's got this lowest branch pruned up now. Now I'm going to go to the one on this side now. Actually, I guess this one's lower than this one. I'll do this one next time. There's a dead branch in the inside here I can take out. There's a new shoot growing vertically from the junction of these two branches. I like the branch I've already developed, so I don't want that new one growing there, so that gets pruned out. Like that. So coming up that branch, the front part here, I've got a horizontal branch here. I've got a vertical shoot on it here that I don't want, so I'll take that out. A stub I can take off there. And then this part is getting very long. I've got a bud on the bottom here. I'm going to take it off here. Should be good. This one I'll take off right here. Slight adjustment. So that's got this lower branch done. The one above it, the lower branch comes out here. The one above it, I need to have it in its own spot of sunlight. So there's a dead one back here. A stub here. And shorten this one to here. Shorten this one to here. And shorten this one to here. Oh, it's got that pruned up pretty nicely. There's an old scale blister there that was dried up. We don't need that. Now, this branch here has always been a bit of a problem branch because it grows back in towards the center of the tree. So there's a look at that branch. So you can see everything flows out, fans out from the tree, except that branch, it kind of crosses inside. And if I remove it, it's probably going to look fine. The reason I kept it is I wanted something coming out the front of the tree. I didn't want a flat front on the tree. However, I think it is time to get rid of that branch now. Maybe. I'm going to take this dead one off here on the trunk. And I think this one is all dead too. At least all the tips of it are. It is dead. I'll just prune that back. Just some living tissue. So I think I don't want that bulge there. I'm going to take it back further. And that scar should heal over fairly quickly because it's on a branch, near a branch that'll be left to grow. Okay, there's another dead one here. Just cleaning the trunk line up a bit. So this one, if I take it off, it certainly doesn't hurt, so I'm going to do it. So I'm going to remove this branch. It's just, yeah, it just spoils the flow of the tree. And I thought about maybe keeping the lower one, but then it still goes back in towards the tree and then pokes straight out at the viewer. So I think I'm going to take it off. I don't think I am going to take it off. Here I go. It's gone. How does it look now? Does it look okay? It looks fine. In fact, it makes this whole branch look too tall. I might take it off here. Yes, I think that needs to be reduced because it's the same height as the apex here. You know, this rounded shape. It's much too tall. I think these are better branches down lower. And I don't want, you know, to prune it here, then I have these ladder branches. I think it needs to come right back, like I did on this branch. Kind of a cut back. So here I go. I'm going to do it. Oh, big cut. Big cut coming up. I'm going to rough cut it off at first. So to right to here. Here I go. Big cut coming up. Just like that. Then I will come in and clean this up. Nibble it away. Nice. Very, very nice. Okay, how does that look now? Well, that definitely makes that branch more horizontal and less upright, which is nice. Now I'm thinking this part is straight. If you see it from this view, it's straight all the way out to the tip here, so I could prune this part of it off and redirect it. And I think I need to do that to bring it out front more. So here I go. That's coming off there, like that. And then I have this one's kind of parallel, so I'm going to decide if I want to keep both. I think I do. I'll keep this one as a branch and this one as the branch leader. Yeah. I'm going to prune this one back more. To there. And I'm going to prune this one back to here. A little more trimming on that. Okay, so I think that branch is looking quite nice. It's definitely more horizontal. It's in the right space. Gives more room for this one to maybe develop up here. Yeah, it's a good, looking good. Now off of the bag, it comes up, it divides into two here, and I have this whip-like branch here, which is kind of young growth coming from the older part of the branch, and I don't think I want it. It crosses in front of the other branch here. It just really clutters the design up. I'm going to prune it off short, and then I'll keep it for now, just, you know, in case I develop something out here and it's something there. I'll keep it for now. I can always prune it off in the future. There's an upright one here. I'll prune that back to, there's a stub I can take off. Another stub I can take off. Another one up here. I want to prune it back to here at least. This one to here. Looking good. And this one at least to here. Maybe further. There's one here, another kind of new one. I'll prune it back to here. Again, to a more horizontal bud. And then there's one here I can prune back. And this one to here. And this one to here. And a stub I can take off. So you can see I've really flattened that branch out. Oh. And then I've got a crossing one here. I'll take that out. That was just looking awkward. And maybe, I think this one's awkward here. I've got to take it out. It's too tight in here. That gives this branch room to grow, and this one, it's not cluttered looking. Okay, that's making some progress. Now, I have off of this part of the branch, I pruned it back here once before, grown it out, and then it's gone vertical. which isn't necessarily a good thing. I want the branches cascading here, coming up to kind of parallel, and then sort of going vertical in the tips. But I mean, it's not too bad. It's like a secondary trunk, but it needs shortening. You can see again, it's higher than the apex of the tree. So I definitely need to take some growth off of it. I'm going to come in. There's a natural flow line right here. Take that whole tip off. Take that back, and I can take this back to there. Stub on top I can remove. And then I've got to do the same for the branch behind it. It's reaching for the sky. So I'm looking for natural flow lines. This is clip and flow bonsai after all. I'm not after sharp angular curves with this tree. So it's kind of awkward. There's a straight section here, right here, and not so desirable. So I have two choices. I could prune that right off and just keep this part of the branch, which would be a nice solution, and is maybe the best solution because it's just so vertical, this branch. I could do a Hail Mary cut, pruning it off short, but I'm wondering, it still has a vertical element to it, and this one is a little more fanning outward. So I'm going to take it right off. So here I go, another fairly big cut here. Here I go. Just like that. So there it is. So that branch definitely looks, it's shortened it. It's not so vertical looking. It fans out a bit. And it's actually quite a nice direction. Okay, I have a branch in here that's bothering me. It's a new little shoot. I don't need that there. Take that out, clean that up. Some dead ones in here I can clean up. I don't even know if this... No, that part of the branch isn't alive. There's a stub here. The living part of the branch is out back, so I can take off the dead stub here if I can get in here. I have to get in here somehow. Maybe from above. Yeah. Dead. Definitely dead. Now it's alive, that part. So I just have to clean that up. Tough to get in there. Maybe from here. There, that's a good cut. Okay, I was distracted there by that branch. Okay, now, so I've got this branch pruned up now. All the structure's looking fairly good on it. It's maybe, I think I've got to prune this one back to here. Like that, it was getting a little long there. So next, well, I've done this part of this branch, but I haven't done this upper part coming off this aerial root. So to control the growth in the aerial root, if you don't want this thickening up, you've got to control the foliage above it and the roots below. So if you let the foliage above it just grow rampant, this will thicken up even more, which I don't want. So I've got to really keep that trunk line, this whole branch, the structure of it and the amount of foliage and everything controlled. Prune that off. There's a dead branch here, stub here. There's a branch kind of growing off the inside of the curve here. I don't like that. I'm going to take that out like that. And then I want to shorten this one also. You can see I've got some horizontal branches here, here. I'll take out that inside one and the stub on the top, and I'll shorten this one. Maybe even more. Yeah. Okay, and so I need to prune this upward growth off and keep some of my more horizontal ones. I have another, and there would be a natural branch leader here. So I could take the whole back section off. So I'll do that. So here I go again with another big cut coming up. Here I go. Just like that. So you can see that's really shortened that branch. Now the upper part of this branch is pointing inwards, so I just want to keep the one fanning outwards. So I'll take this one off like that. And the dead tip here. So I have a bud in here that'll develop. The branch out the back, I've got a stub I can take off. I'll prune this one back and this one back to there. Shortening that up. So that's got this part of the branch pruned up and this part. Now I just have to do the one out the back here. So you can see there's some growth on the inside, so I need to take that out. I can't rotate it around. Let me move this more forward here. Like that. Now I can rotate it around. So out the back here, you can see this one points inwards, so I'm going to take that whole branch off. It just doesn't flow. Okay. And then it's getting fairly tall too, so I need to prune it back. So I can take off this leader here, like that, shortening it quite a bit. I can take off this vertical part here, shortening that. There's one pointing to the inside here, I'll take that off. Stub here. And that back shorter, this back shorter. Take this stub off and to there and to here, here. Just pruning all these little whips back, stub off, prune it back, and stub, pruning back, pruning back. Well, that's definitely got that branch much more compact. Now I'm looking for the structure of it, or I'm looking at the structure of it. This one is kind of crowding out. It's right beside this branch. I've kind of got ladder branches here, this one above. I don't think I need this lower branch, so I'm taking it out. It's competing with this as a primary structure. Got a stub up here. That's looking better. You can really see the difference from the right hand side now versus the left hand side. It has a much more horizontal flowing look. This side is much more sweeping upwards. Now I've got this long shoot out the back. I've got to decide, what am I going to do with that? I don't really need that branch. It's growing kind of underneath this root here, and I've kept it just because the root is kind of fused to that branch, so I should keep it, I guess. It has its own spot of sunlight here. I'll just prune it off shorter. I could go way back. I think I will. No, I'll go here for now. I may shorten it later. Okay. Okay, let's do this branch on the left-hand side now. Coming up here. I've got one that sticks straight out the front. This is my primary branch, secondary branching out here. I don't need another thin shoot on the inside here going way back. So that comes right off. Cleans that area up. I've got a branch coming back towards the center of the tree. I'll take that out. I've got a vertical shoot on here. I'll take that out. This one also points to the inside of the tree. I've got a stub here. Prune this back shorter. Stub. Prune this one back to just the tip off it. Want these weaker lower branches to develop. I don't want to shorten them too much. I want them out here in the sun. Let them grow and strengthen up to get a wider spreading tree. A more ficus-like tree. Prune this one back. Stub. Prune it back. Prune this one, the tip off. Now, on this branch, you can see in this view, it comes out, it divides into two, and I've got this one here. This is more my tertiary structure out here. I don't need this one here. I can come off. Dead branch there. Cleans that area up again. Lower one's good. I think this one needs to be shorter. Yeah. Take it off a little bit more. Okay. I think I'm going to take this one back even. Shorter. There's one branch here. So the back part of this branch comes out and it's starting to sweep up quite high. So I need to get it kind of brought back down. There's a vertical aspect to the branch here that needs to be removed. If you can see that right here. Where was it now? Let me find that again. Here. So I can take that whole part off. Here I go. Like that. Gets it more flowing outwards. There's one coming back on itself here. I'll take that out. I'm going to prune this off to a downward facing buds to here. Shortening that. It's pretty straight here. That may get pruned off or removed. Or shortened, I mean. Okay. Stub up here I can remove. That. Vertical growth I can remove here. Stub. Prune it off to a downward facing bud. I'm going to remove the upward part of this branch. Take that off. I am going to take this one out here. It crosses the branch behind it. It's just, don't need that. Dead branch here. I think the whole branch tip is dead there. Yes. Too bad, but that's the way it goes. Which means I probably should remove this whole end of the branch, and I will. Back to here. Clean that up a bit. Like that. Take the tip off. Stub. Yeah. So I think that branch is looking better. Well, there's a vertical part here I don't like. I'm going to move that. I may get some back budding in here, and then I can... There's kind of a long sweeping section there that's very straight with no taper and no change of direction. So that may need to be brought back in the future. Now this upper part here, I'm going to remove this one shooting straight up. Move the stub. I'm going to shorten this branch here. Shorten this one. Shorten this one. And then this one, I am going to shorten to right here. And maybe more. So it's a bit straight. I'm going to come right back to here. It's in good sun there. There's nothing shading it out. Okay. Making progress. This one, I think I need to remove the tip. So I'll go back to here. Like that. And there's one back here that's doing something funny, growing at a weird angle. I'll take that one right out. Okay, I think that's got that lowest branch pruned up here. Let's move up to this one now. So I've got one sticking straight out front. I'm going to keep my bud on this side, so I took the tip off so it'll grow out on an angle. I'll remove the ones that are growing on the inside here, like that. And now, do I want to keep that is the question. I think so. It would allow me, if this thickens up, to eventually maybe prune the whole top of that branch off and have it as a very horizontal branch. And it's not an eye poker branch, it's on an angle. It doesn't come straight out towards your eye, so I think it's good. Stub, prune back, shorter, maybe shorter still. Okay, so this part of the branch now comes up and it's getting quite high. Again, it's growing up into the upper canopy. It's a mid branch. It should be kind of end in the midsection, and it doesn't. I think this whole branch here is dead. Why did that branch die? This one here, that whole branch is dead here. Oh my goodness. I wonder what caused that. Seemed to be getting light. Interesting. Oh well, I'm kind of sorry to see that one go. I needed to fill that space in. Oh dear. Huh. It definitely recovered from the last pruning and sprouted out all kinds of new growth, but maybe it got shaded out. Oh, that's too bad. Well, that's the challenge. Got to grow something else in that place. So I think I better take that out, the dead part out. You don't want to style a tree based on dead branches. That just snapped off. Now there may be some living parts to this. So I'm going to reduce it down in sections in case there's hope that it can regrow that branch. If I can get in here. So I'm going to take the end off, and if I find some green growth or some signs of life, I will stop. If I don't, I'll just keep pruning back further. No signs of life. Still no signs of life. Oh my goodness. So basically that branch died. Now hopefully, you know, I won't get any dieback on the trunk or anything. I don't think I will. But I'm going to have to take that right back. It just died off. Okay, I'm back into some living tissue now. It's starting to bleed. So I just have to clean this up. Go a little deeper. Like that. That's getting pretty good. Okay, I think that's a good cut. So you can see now from the front, I really missed that branch there. However, you know, I'll grow something in its place. Out the back here, you can see I have some new branches coming off this lower part. Now, I've never really liked this back branch. Originally it was growing out the back in a nice radial pattern. The main branch died off and a shoot that came off on an angle survived, so I've grown that. So I think this one is good. It's in a radial direction coming out the back. I do not need the one beside it though, so this one can come off like that. And I'll prune this one back a bit here, like that. So I will keep that shoot. This one I won't keep. That one goes. Just looking to see if there's any more surprises, any more dead branches. I don't see any. Okay, that's good. I don't want any more dead branches. One's enough. Okay, so now, where was I? I think I was on this branch here. Yes, I pruned this. I pruned this back. This back. So this one, as I said, it was getting vertical, tall. This is a sort of a mid branch. It should be a little more horizontal. I don't need this length. So I need to reduce it back in height. And I've got to find a natural new branch leader. So the radial direction of the branch is out here. So I can definitely take this tip off. I'm going to do that. Here I go. top off the branch because I have a new branch leader here. I'll take the tip off that. Take the stub off here. And I'm going to take it back to here. There's another better branch leader there. This one's too long, coming out the front. I'm going to reduce it back to here. And then there's one that goes inside. There's two here actually. I'll take both of those out. That one and this one. This one's dead here. I'll take that out, just a little one. I got a branch stub here. Take it out. And then I still don't like that branch. It doesn't really flow very nicely. I'm going to take it off even shorter. I'm going to use this as the branch leader. So here I go, right to here. That's off. I'll clean that up. There. That looks good. So there, that really shortened that branch. And maybe in the future, you know, I can use this as the branch leader and shorten it even more. And I'm wondering if I should do that now. Tough choice. No, I think that's for the future. Take the tip off here. I think that's for the future. I'm going to leave it as it is. When these thicken up a bit more, then I can make that decision. Okay, so behind it now, I have this branch. And again, it's as high as the apex. You can see it comes up from the trunk and it just keeps, it's got taper and movement, but it just keeps flowing all the way up to too high. So I need to cut it back, and I have an opportunity. If I cut the top off it, I divide it from 1 to 2 here. And I think that's what I should do. It gets it down the height, and I get rid of this kind of long straight section. I get some subdividing. So here I go, another big cut coming up. I'll come in at an angle like this. Maybe not like that, maybe from over here. Yeah, like this, and chop it off. Here I go, big cut coming up. Oh, just like that. Okay, that's a nice cut. I think I need to do just a little bit of cleanup here. Like that. Okay, that looks good. Then, the other part, this branch, is also getting too high. So I'm looking where I can prune that. Let me look from the front. Yeah. Well, I think I need to go at least to here. So I will. Here I go. Cutting the top off. Like that. Pruning this back to here. I think this one's dead, yeah. Too bad, but... Okay, that certainly helped that tree, or that branch out. It's not perfect, but it's okay. Take the stub off here. And I'll reduce this back. It's a little too tall. Yeah. Okay, wow, big cuts coming in today on the tree. So I'm getting up towards the apex. Behind the apex I have a branch here that's fed by this aerial root and the roots down here. So fairly vigorous branch, and you can see it is higher than the apex of the tree. So it needs to be cut back, and it's had some pretty big cuts in the past on it. So from the front I'm looking for nice flow lines. So from the front it's kind of hidden. I mean, I could cut the whole branch off and it wouldn't really change the tree all that much. So I'm going to shorten it back in height, and I'm looking for good flow lines. So here's a good one here. I can take it right back to here. So here I go. Like that. That reduces it in height. And then this part of it, I've got this section here. I've got a dead one here. Unfortunately, that's dead. That would have been a good one. All my good possibilities are dead branches. It's too bad. This one's dead. Stub here. So where am I going to reduce this one back to? I could go right back to this one. And I think, other than a Hail Mary cut here, it's my only choice. I'm going to go for the Hail Mary cut. See what happens. If it dies off back to this branch, well, no harm done. So here I go. Hail Mary. Just like that. So leaving a stub. Maybe some branches will come out there. If they don't, I'll use this as the branch leader. Backup plan. Put that back also. This one's long and whippy here. Let's see where I can prune it to. Back to here. Take the, no, that one's okay. This one's dead, the tip there. And this one's long here. Let's see. I'm looking for a bud facing out the back, so here, so that gets pruned back. So I got that branch reduced. Let's have a look from the front now. Let's see how it's looking. Yeah, it's looking better. Definitely better. So now I have the apex of this tree, and there's a lot going on here, and some of it's good and some isn't so good. So my main trunk line comes up, and then it divides here into 1, 2, 3, and then this third one divides very quickly into 2. I do want the apex kind of fanning out. However, I do need a vertical component up the middle, otherwise I get nothing in the middle here. Well, this branch comes back in on itself. I'll take that out. Same with this one. That's gone. And this one. This one also. This one. So you can see the empty spot in the middle here. I think I need, there's a vertical component here. I can take this part of it off like that, keeping my branches fanning outwards. Here too, I think I can take off this vertical part of the branch like that. I think this one's dead and this one's too long. Okay, changing the top of the tree quite a bit now. I'll put this one back. Okay, this branch here is getting very long. I don't have any branches to cut it back to in this section. I'm going to have to do another Hail Mary cut there. I'm going to come in about halfway here and chop it. Here I go. Like that. Bit of a Hail Mary cut. Something will develop off this branch. If not, I'll get back budding down lower. That'll help that apex. Hard to do, but you have to do it. Now, you can see I have the same problem back here. I've got a fairly long sweeping section, and this is fairly thick for being this high in the tree. I need thinner branches up top, for sure. I think this is going to be my vertical part of the tree, this branch right here. Everything else could fan away from that. So I have a branch that fans off here, and one out the back here. So I'll take the top off this branch to here, like that. Clean that up a bit too. And then I'll take this one back to here. I've got one that's going on the inside here. I'll take that one out. Oops. There we go. Dead one there. Stub. And bring it back. Pruning back. Pruning the tip off. So there may be more work coming on this apex still. I'm just whittling away at it. So I'm thinking about this one here. I've got a horizontal branch coming off here. I'm wondering, it's very vertical, it's competing with the apex. I'm wondering if I should take that off. It's kind of hidden behind this branch anyway. And it's running parallel to my main leader. I'm not liking that. So I have two options. I can shorten it to here, see how it looks. If I don't like that, then I can reduce it further. And I think that's a good plan. So here I go. The first option is shortening it like that. And also shortening this one. Let me have a look at it. Okay. Well, I still don't like it. It's still hidden behind this one. Now, I could get rid of this one too, is the other possibility. But that comes forward. I think it needs something coming forward. So I'm leaning towards removing the back one. And not only am I leaning towards doing that, I am going to do it. So here I go, a big cut here. Big kind of horizontal cut. Here I go. That's gone. Okay, well that helps. That certainly helps. Just going to clean that up a little bit more. It's a little rough looking. There. Okay, now I'm going to prune that branch back to here. There's a dead part I'm just pulling off. Okay. It's looking better. Now, in the apex here, I can take it back, shortening it to there. I think I'm going to take this whole top off here, like that. That looks better. And I don't think I need this branch on the inside here. I'm going to remove it. That looks better. And this one could be taken back. Okay, let me step back and have a look at this crown now. The apex of it. Again, it's not perfect, that's for sure, but I think it's improved. This needs to be taken back to here. This needs to be taken back to here. And this one to here. Better. Stub on the top there. Okay, so my tree is definitely shorter and wider looking now. Let me step back and look at it. Here is a look at the ficus now. So it's definitely, I would say, more ficus looking now with those kind of more horizontal, spreading lower branches. The height is reduced, so it's I find a lot of these ficus that have the long lower branches, they don't go much higher. They don't really get a big massive apex. I mean, it's there, but the trees tend to grow out more horizontally than growing up higher. They get that very flat mushroom shape. So I think I'm on the right, the right track to achieve that someday. It's asymmetrical, the tree, and I like that. Like, I have a different look on this side than the other side. And I'm really liking that, actually. This branch on this side might be a little high if I imagine let me get my template. Let's see if we can do this. So maybe there. So yeah, I'm just a little high there. Let me see what I can do about that. I think that's something that needs a little bit of fixing. All right, so I'm a little out of profile here. Here is pretty good, the other side. Just the tips here, so I just need to reduce the tip back a bit. It's a tall order. Yeah, that's a bit of a tall order to do that. I can take this one off here. That reduces it a bit. I can take tip off there, maybe. I better not touch it. I think that's all I can do. Now I noticed around the back here there's some suckers growing up from the root base. I better look at those. So in here, in the crevices, there's new shoots growing up, which I've never had before. I'm going to take them off. I don't want, low branches down coming from the root base. It's always nice, the tree gives you that option, but in this case I'm not going to use them. So that cleans up the back of the root base. Now the back of the root base looks good because I have roots flowing every direction. And if I go around to the front of the root base, I have roots kind of to the left and to the right, and nothing directly coming out the middle. And I think as these thicken up, it's going to create a nice look looking in at the center of the tree. I don't want a root coming straight out towards the viewer, so I think it's on the right track to becoming a really nice looking root base. The moss has grown up quite a bit here, so I think I need to clean that up a bit. I also think I need to do some watering. It's incredible, but it looks like it's dried out already, which means I know it's due for a big growth spurt, this tree, because it was in the plant room. Kind of kept cool for most of the winter, and now that it's out here in the greenhouse with the good sunshine and water and fertilizer and fresh air, I think it's really going to take off, and in a good way. Back budding, good growth, good strong growth, and it'll give me a lot more branch selection for the future. Yeah, maybe something, up here to fill in this space, but it is nice to have some negative space also, especially with big thick primary branches. So I'll give the tree a water, and then we'll come back and clean up the root base. And I can't tell you how exciting it is watching this tree develop over the years. This tree I started from a seed, and to see it starting to mature it's a wonderful experience. It's really nice to see that I was responsible for every pruning decision on this tree, and I created this tree form out of the tree, or I helped guide it, and it's been very exciting. I would highly recommend people grow trees from young and watch them grow up and get old. It's quite fascinating. Here is a look at what I've taken off today. The cutting room floor, or the Blue Jay Carnage Cam. Yeah, so, a fair amount. Now, last time I pruned this tree, I grew a whole bunch of cuttings off of it, and I sold those at the Toronto Bonsai Society's silent auction in December. So this tree is gone everywhere now. A lot of people have cuttings off of it. I'm not going to grow these cuttings. I just don't have room anymore. So there's nothing really significant here anyway. They're just twigs. So yeah, so there's the tree. So now I'm going to go in and look at the root base here. I'm going to go in with the tweezers and start removing the moss around the root base here, because it's covering up a lot of my roots. Now, new roots will grow in the moss, but I kind of want to see what's going on here. Remember when this root was just a little tiny root snaking across the surface of the moss, and now it's a big thick root. Incredible. It wasn't that long ago either. I remember when this tree was just a young little seedling poking its first set of leaves out of the ground. Oh my goodness, how it's grown since, eh? Now, this tree is grown in Canada here. If this was grown in a tropical climate, it would be twice this size. things don't develop very quickly in Canada, especially tropical trees. You have such a short growing season outside, and growing them indoors isn't ideal either. So I've got this moss cleared away from the front. I need to clear it away from the sides too. It's all covering up my roots there. So I'll work away at that, and we'll come back and have a look at the root system. I peeled back all the moss from the root base of the ficus, and you can see that the roots are getting quite massive. And this is sometimes a problem with ficus, is that the roots will overwhelm the top of the tree. So you have to try and keep them in balance. And this is something I'm going to have to keep an eye on, because I would say right now the root base is approaching unbalance. That the first thing your eye goes to is that root base. It's like, holy cow, look at the width of that root base. And maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe that's, you want some attention to it, so your eye goes to the roots and then goes up the tree. Yeah, what you don't want is massive roots and a skinny little tree. You want it in proportion, and I don't think I would want the root base to be any more powerful than this, for sure. So in future, I'll have to try and keep it a little more compact. Yeah, trying to keep it in proportion. I'll have to really watch it. And it may mean I may have to reduce or eliminate some of the roots in future. I'll see how it goes. The other possibility is, you know, I can grow the tree a little taller also to compensate. So, you know, a bigger tree, keep the roots the same. That's another possibility. But that, you know, the height of the tree has to be grown slowly. You can't just rapidly grow it, or you'll have these long straight branches and then you just have to cut it all back again anyway. Yeah, so that's the state of the tree. It's quite nice, I think. It's coming along really well. It's an interesting tree. That's another thing with ficus, with wiring sometimes, is that every branch is kind of wired the same, so they all, each branch looks the same. With a clip and grow tree, each branch never looks the same. They're always different because the trees grow differently. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, a meticulously wired branch in flat pads can sometimes make every branch look identical. So you see one branch, you've seen them all. A clip and grow tree, this branch can look totally different from this branch, so it makes the tree more interesting that you can study this branch, this branch, this branch, and they're all different and all slightly different styles. And it makes an interesting tree. It becomes less boring. Here's a close-up of the root system. I'll just kind of spin it around. So I've got some fairly coarse roots in here that may need pruning back. You can see the aerial root is getting its own root system. Radial roots forming, they need pruning back also. They're getting thick and there's no subdivision. Back's looking quite nice. Yeah, so it's coming along nicely, the root system. So next time I repot it, I'll be doing more root work, and I may be working on getting aerial roots off of this thick root this summer, and maybe some of the others also, kind of. So this root comes down, subdivides, and I get finer aerial roots coming off of it. I think that'll look better. So it'll be like air layering, where I'll remove sections of the root, put sphagnum moss around it, and try and develop more finer roots coming off of the main root system. Be very interesting. Here's a look at the upper structure of the tree, kind of from above. Yeah, it's doing quite well. I was away at the Bonsai show all weekend, and there's been a lot of changes here in the greenhouse, plants growing, which is very exciting, but I'll have to show you that on the next video. There's lots of updates to show you. I sure have enjoyed the whole bonsai process, growing this ficus from a seed up to a mature tree. I'm looking forward in the next 10-20 years to growing it and refining it even further. It has a long, long way to go to becoming a magnificent looking ficus, but it's slowly getting there. That is all for today. I'm Nigel Saunders. Thanks for joining me in the Bonsai Zone.